Sports live stream where normally we podcast, but lately we've been doing live streams. And instead of Angelo, we've been getting Wayne on the stream. Angelo will pop up here and there. He's terrified of cameras, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You can find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter. Find me at Chris Sarda. There's Wayne, and you can see right there at Never Do I Lose with some underscores there on Twitter, and then Instagram at Chaotic Sports Media. So we're just so everyone knows, we're doing football talk right now. Just to get us in the groove as we figure out the best times for you and I to do this show. But I will talk about other things, Wayne. Don't worry. I don't want you to worry about that. I know you're like, let's talk about boxing, MMA. We'll get to it. But football, I know that we can just, we can get out of bed and talk about it. Now, I had thought, hey, let's just do the stream after the Monday night game. There's some problems with that, obviously, because half the country's asleep right now. And then also the Monday night game was pitiful. How much of it did you watch?
I had a little fantasy interest, so I watched a little bit. Tom Brady, my quarterback. I definitely wasn't happy seeing him throw an interception. But overall, it was a pretty pitiful game. I don't know. The Jets, they're still rebuilding. So that's to be expected. Patriots continue dominance. I like that. I think Sam Darnold has a lot of room and potential to grow. So that'll be good in the future. And, nobody in the AFC has a chance until Tom Brady retires. So.
Oh, you were so right about that until the Tom Brady retires. No one in the AFC has a chance because they suck. Like the whole division is bad. The whole conference is terrible. It's just pitiful. The Chiefs have a chance, but who here thinks that Tom Brady's not going to tear up that defense, even if Mahomes is healthy? Best case scenario is the exact same thing happens as in the playoffs as last year, except Mahomes gets the coin flip. That's their best case scenario. I mean, after that, it's pitiful. Sam Darnold, went from having a game where in his comeback where we thought, oh man, maybe he does matter, to this where he's just. I don't even think it was Belichick or a defensive scheme. I just think he didn't come to play. Like he knew he was playing the Patriots and played afraid. Gase was on, I think it was Gase, maybe his offensive coordinator, their quarterback coach was, they picked up him getting the old sideline talk, the don't worry, bro, you're good. You could do it. You just got to get yourself up. And then he threw another interception shortly after that. So it was not great. And as good as Tom Brady looked, this is probably the best he looked. He's still not, looked like this incredible quarterback as far as stats go. The interception I know is probably meaningless, but it did drop his quarterback rating here to 80.7 as of, there's still 2 minutes left in the game as we record this, but
it's not meaningless when there's fantasy implications. I'm just saying.
Oh, you had the -2 for you. That's a -2.
Yeah, that's not good.
Before we started recording, you were literally tied 156.4 to 156.4 in our Dynasty League. So you really just need Tom Brady to get one completion would be nice. They're probably, if anything, running out the clock, but one completion would be nice.
That'd be phenomenal.
So the Jets looked pitiful. I'll tell you what, I was ready to turn it off after the first quarter. The only thing that kept me going, the only thing that kept me around was the Star Wars trailer, I'll be honest. This is a sports talk show, but then I turned off the game, went onto YouTube and proceeded to watch the trailer 6 times and then watch live streams on YouTube about the Star Wars trailer. So I don't know if I have my priorities in a row. I should have been preparing for our live stream, but that didn't happen.
I was not as excited as you. I'm excited, but I felt like I could go on YouTube and watch it, so I wasn't as concerned about watching it in the moment. I was actually watching a little bit of The Voice. So
I thought you were gonna have real real reason to just rail on me for being a nerd and doing that, and then you just ruin that with that. Instead, I went and watched The Voice.
Honesty is the best policy.
It's good. Yeah, it's true. You could for most movies, I don't even care about the trailer, but Star Wars and the Marvel movies, they're events, so it's fun to do it like, Community. Community now is on your phone, on social media, I guess. I guess that's the way it is, but that's the way it is, Right. So anyway, I know something you want to point out is the Jets looked pitiful, looked like one of the worst teams in the league, looked like they did all the other weeks besides this week. However, they did. You always like to mention, you always like to rail against one certain team, and yeah. I think it's reasonable here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Jets last week looked like world beaters against the Dallas Cowboys, but all of a sudden they look like trash against one of the perennial all-star playoff Super Bowl teams. So, what does that tell you?
Well, why are you making it sound? Well, I mean, all you did was not make the Cowboys look not that bad when you say that they did it against a perennial all-star, multiple Super Bowl winning team. That's all you did.
But my point in saying that is to make sure all you Cowboy fans out there know that a team that just got dismantled by the Standard dismantled your team last week. So how about that?
So, do you want to do maybe like once a week? We'll just do a Cowboys hate show.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Just go an hour, and we don't even have to do the current year. We can just pick random years. Like we can go over the Cowboys 2008 season. Whatever you want. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to do just a pure Cowboys hate show. And to be honest, we probably get a lot of hate, but it would be like the kind of hate that shows up into the chat, because the Cowboy fans are, they're an active bunch. They're an active bunch. So you were disappointed in another little thing, that because a certain team's on a bye, I said, we're not going to talk about them.
Oh yeah. Cleveland Browns, we got 2 weeks to prepare for the New England Patriots. Look out.
Dude, you really set yourself up for whatever Cowboy fans are watching right now, or whatever of our friends of the Cowboy persuasion, because I mean, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, right? The Cowboys are going to tear the Browns up.
Or the Patriots, you mean?
I mean, the Patriots they're going to kill them.
This is what I'm hoping for. Best case scenario, I'm hoping that Myles Garrett puts Tom Brady on his neck early, and we run the football. The best defense to a good offense is a running game. So as long as we run the ball and keep Tom Brady off the field, and then Myles Garrett puts Tom Brady on his neck a couple times, relentlessly, I think we got a chance.
I mean, in that case, yeah, if Tom Brady keeps getting hit, but they're Patriots and Tom Brady at executing it have become kings at letting the ball go. And if you start seeing pressure, then they start doing those short passes, make you pay for the blitz, little six yarders and stuff. I make fun of Brady for that, but it's obviously been super effective. Yeah. And that's going to be what happened if you guys are blitzing too much. And then if you're not having linebackers and stuff blitz, then they're just going to beat you some other way.
And then most importantly, Baker's got to take care of the football. I mean,
yeah. So I think that's the real
4 times.
And I think that's the real turnover. If they had old Sam Darnold making mistakes, then Baker's going to make some too. So I don't.
2 weeks to prepare. That's the only thing I'm hoping.
Yeah,
2 weeks
but it's
to prepare,
not like.
And this is not hook 'em horns, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's metal horns. I don't know. I think you set yourself up for any of our friends of the Cowboy persuasion. That's how I'm going to call them now. Cowboy fans are going to be friends of the Cowboy persuasion. Any Cowboy fans to just really rail on you, because you're probably going to come up, see the Patriots get murdered, and then they're going to have an argument that the Cowboys are better than the Browns.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah, there's hope there, right? So the main topic of today's little live stream that I wanted to get into is now we have all the games behind our belt. This Patriots game doesn't matter because it's AFC. It is final now, 33-0. What a horrible game. So the all the games are behind our belt. It's very clear who the best team in the AFC is. It's the Patriots. The second best team, that's a little up in the air. But what I really want to talk about is who you think is going to come out of the NFC. And not only that, who the best team is right now. So I don't know if those are the same question or a different question. When you're doing your power rankings, are you thinking who has played the best? Not that you sit down and write your whole power rankings, but in power rankings in your head, are you thinking who has played the best up to now? Or are you thinking who's really going to come out at the end? Because obviously the 49ers are undefeated, right? So the Niners are going to be the NFC team on a lot of power rankings, but I'm not sure I'm ready to say that they're the best team in the NFC. You have some, we're going to go over those teams, but you have some initial thoughts on just the idea of power rankings?
Well, my initial thoughts are the 49ers are a good team. We can put that behind us.
Yeah, they are. It's not luck anymore. They're
now.
Go ahead.
What I question is the ability to make big plays in the playoffs and be outplayed. And for Garoppolo, there's still questions with Garoppolo. I think that they have a good running game and a great defense, a great offensive line. But if you have to put the ball in Garoppolo's arm in the less than 2 minutes in the game in the fourth quarter, I have questions. Now, I'll tell you a team that I think is kind of still flying under the radar and not as productive as they have been or they can be is the Saints. I think, with Drew Brees still injured and recovering, Teddy Bridgewater is doing a phenomenal job just getting wins. That's all you need to do, get wins. And also it keeps Drew Brees healthy for the playoff run. So I think that's an undercover, really good team that
I think that's big
not on people's minds.
I'm going to go back to the Niners in a second, but I think that's big. I think the Saints are on a lot of people's lists, to be honest. I think it's either the Niners or the Saints that are on top, or the Packers near there maybe, because people do realize what you just said is that number one, Drew Brees is actually getting a rest, especially when you consider how poorly he played in December last year. So now the idea is you might get fresh Drew Brees. They'd be smart if they did not play him this week because they have a bye week. They're only playing Arizona, so that should be a winnable game, even though Kyler's looking pretty good lately. That should be a winnable game, and then they have a bye. That would give Drew Brees 2 more weeks, and you'd have a fresh, older quarterback that's hopefully doesn't just fall apart in December and is ready for the playoffs. So I don't know that they're going under the radar. I think that people are just like they don't know what to think about the Saints right now because it is Bridgewater in there. The 49ers, what I want to say about them is that the truth is they wouldn't, because of Garoppolo and because the defense is so good, they wouldn't be an undefeated team right now. There's at least one game without a doubt that he had, what was it? I think it was 4 turnovers, and then the defense had 4 or 5 turnovers itself. So Garoppolo, once they start playing those good teams, and I'll give it to them, they played the Seahawks and beat them. That was, Seahawks they did beat the Seahawks, right? Yeah, that's one of the Seahawks losses. Seahawks have 2 losses. They lost this week. We'll talk about the Seahawks in a second because they were a team that I thought was high up on that list, but not after this week. So they beat the Seahawks, so they beat a team that I considered good, like the Seahawks, and so they can beat good teams. But Garoppolo is the linchpin there. You already know I've never been a fan of Garoppolo. I've never thought he was that good. No one even talked about him in the draft. I mean, he gets a lot of news on him because he backed up Tom Brady. For whatever reason, everyone knows Tom Brady's backups like the back of their hand. Like everyone just has them memorized. So I really don't think he has it. I think the Niners are making a good little run, but I think that contract's going to really bite them in the ass. in the end. They paid him a little bit too much before he was ever proven. Meanwhile, a player like Kaepernick sitting on the sideline with no, and I don't want to get into the political side, but there's a guy that what you're getting, and then there's an unproven commodity. And lately, teams are ready to sign these unproven commodities. So,
right. So two things I want to point out just based on what you just said. One, I don't want you to forget about the Seahawks. They are still a good team, and I think the type of quarterback that they have can win you a game in the playoffs. I think
I agree. I agree.
It was a challenge for them to play Lamar Jackson, who, let's be honest, this kid is the second coming of Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson is top 10 in rushing yards as a quarterback. And I watched a little bit of that game here recently versus the Ravens, and they played great defense, except the Seahawks did, except for those plays where everybody's covered, everybody's committed, and then Lamar Jackson slips somebody or two people and goes 25, 30 yards. It's just a difficult thing to defend. And then with that being said, too, something you had pointed out about Kaepernick, a lot of people don't realize the offensive coordinator, or at least the quarterback's coach, one of the two, the offensive coordinator, I believe, is actually the guy who coached Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. So they actually have a solid, effective plan for Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens do have that offensive coordinator that coached Kaepernick in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl.
So Seattle, the point you made about Seattle is fine. My problem isn't that someone got through their defense, because that's going to happen to Seattle here and there. They're not the Legion of Boom that they were before, and they were away also. So that, I don't think the home field advantage is like it was a few years ago, but it still matters. My problem with Seattle is that they for at least for most of the game, I don't have this. Let me get the score up here. But my problem is that they only put 10 up. Like, Russell Wilson didn't look good, and the Ravens' defense isn't exactly an overwhelming defense.
Whoa! The Ravens' defense has been good year after year. That's like the only thing that has been consistent with them. I mean, after all, they got Joe Flacco. They got Joe Flacco at Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, that none of those players are there anymore. To be honest, I'm trying to think of where they're ranked. I'm thinking of players in my head. So I don't know if the Ravens defense have played great. I've just thought of them as neither here nor there defensively for the most part. But okay, they got a couple late scores, so they did end up getting 16 up there. But for the vast majority of the game, Seahawks scored 10. Russell Wilson, who to me was the MVP up to this point, still might be. I'd have to think about it. It's just one game, right? You can't just throw away what you think is a one game. And it happens. It's football, right? And it feels like any given Sunday is as true as ever right now, except for the Patriots, who play no one difficult. But the Seahawks, they do. You can't say that they don't drop a rung, because the Baltimore Ravens have dropped a rung in most of our eyes since the beginning of the year. With Lamar Jackson's great games, also against bad teams. That's the problem with the AFC, is that you get some of these showcase matchups. But I can't say that I'm thinking Seattle would go high on my NFC power rankings right now. Will they make the playoffs? I still think they will. I think the Rams might be the odd man out there. Strange enough, they may or may not figure their situation out. But I mean, there's a wild card spot for Seattle, and I wouldn't be surprised because of Garoppolo if the Niners fall apart. Let's go on. We might jump back to New Orleans in a second, but let's talk about who I want to talk about. But let's do it. Let's do the NFC North in general here. So the Packers have an argument to be considered the top team in the NFC. It seems, and as you know, and the fans and people that listen to our show know, I'm a Packer. That's my team, the Packers. But what the headlines are is that, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers are finally on the same wavelength, because Aaron Rodgers had a perfect quarterback rating, looked great, and everything was hunky dory. I'm not a believer yet. I'll tell you that. Now, do I think that they still might be the best team in the NFC? I do think they have an argument to be up there at least. I'm saying for me, I could put them in any order. It'd be Saints, Packers, and 49ers. They all have arguments. But right behind the Packers and also looking great were the Minnesota Vikings.
Don't.
You don't like that? I mean, they're a playoff team.
The Vikings overall, but I feel like anytime I rate a team, I always look at the quarterback and ask myself if they can win the game and put the game in their hands and elevate the team to victory. And I agree. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, Garoppolo.
No. I bet you meant that aren't going to do it. Yeah.
Tom Brady, guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. These are the guys that can win you a game. I would not put Cousins or Garoppolo in that category yet. I mean, you have to prove yourself. These guys are proven winners, and that Baker, you got to prove yourself too, brother.
So I think Cousins has proven that he's not that guy. He's one of those guys where we need to really sit and hash out the stats on when he's playing 500 and under teams and 500 and over teams and also big games. So I don't think Cousins is ever going to be that guy.
I think
Garoppolo may or may not be.
I think Cousins is that guy that can play decent when the team around him is perfect on all sides, offensively, offensive line, and defense. You can put him in there and get a couple wins. He's not going to win you a playoff game.
Okay, no, I agree with that. He might win you a playoff game, but he was not going to go much farther than that. He's not going to go much farther than that. Depends who he plays. I mean, chances are Cousins would go up against if the wild card happens, he's going to go up against a team like who would he go up against? He would go up against a team like, probably like the Cowboys, most likely. It'd be Cowboys, Panthers, something like that. Because you got to think the Cowboys aren't going to get a bye. They might get out of that division, but they're not going to get a bye. So I agree with all that. But here's the thing: that team is perfect around him. That team made Case Keenum look good, gave Case Keenum a starting job somewhere else and somewhat of a contract. And Kirk Cousins actually has looked good since his receivers started bitching and moaning, which normally doesn't work. But even Adam Thielen was reported as saying some things, and now he's made Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen look pretty good lately. I mean, they're making themselves look good, but he's actually throwing the ball to them. But so I don't think that they have an argument for being the best team in the NFC. But I do think that they're going to probably be a playoff team, because it turns out, and as good as the NFC North is, it turns out the Bears are not that good, and that was a team that I picked as going to be number one in the division. So what do you got right now? So I think we can agree, and we'll talk a little power rankings in general, but I think we can agree that the three teams in the running for best in the NFC are the Saints, Packers, and 49ers.
Absolutely. And I temper my expectations of the 49ers. And another reason I do as well is because Shanahan's a good coach and he could scheme well, but that Super Bowl where Atlanta failed, he was also the offensive coordinator. So I just wonder if he can get it done when it comes down to the X's and O's of an elite guy like Sean Payton.
I mean, really, though, the defense failed in that Atlanta game because they put up a lot of points. So the defense started falling apart. So who comes out of the NFC as of now? Do you think it's the Saints with a fresh Drew Brees? Or do you think that this recent Packers offensive explosion is real?
That is definitely, a viable option. But I'm going to go ahead and say the Saints because of their experience at quarterback and coaching. I just think experience in these situations. You guys have a rookie head coach. Even though Aaron Rodgers is like a coach on the field because he does understand the X's and O's very well, amongst the best. But I'm going to go ahead and agree with. I'm going to say the Saints.
I'm not sure who I'm going to say yet. The Packers might be the number one team in the NFC right now. I don't hate the Saints, and I think that if you're playing the 49ers at home and the weather's bad, that they have a good chance to beat you 12-6. But what I will say, and obviously I'm hoping this isn't true, is that, to be honest, that was a wonderful game. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's really happy. You could see his happiness when everything's going well. Like, he's legitimately happy. And then you could see his poor, sad little boy face when things aren't going right. When someone drops a ball, he's just like a big powder on the sideline. What I will say is that I don't take a lot from this game against the Raiders. I think John Gruden has made his team overachieve. I think that defense is really bad. I think there's these moments where John Gruden is at least in the process of changing my mind. I was skeptical about how good he was, but the way that team, the Raiders, have played with the personnel that they have has been pretty impressive. Beating the Bears in London was very impressive, getting that out there. But the fact is there's just not that much talent on that team. And a player like Aaron Rodgers, if you put that out there, he's going to be able to take advantage of that. No matter how good your coach is, no matter how good the scheme is, no matter how worked up you get everyone to play, if there's just not talent there, Aaron Rodgers is going to cut that up. So is Tom Brady. So is Drew Brees. Like we said, they're just going to figure out how to do that. You might get a Kirk Cousins to screw up. You might get a Kirk Cousins. You might get a Trubisky to not figure out what's going on, even though the level of skill on that defense is that good. But you're not going to get Aaron Rodgers to do it. And for that reason, I'm not convinced yet of the Rodgers LaFleur connection. I want to see that happen a little more. I want to see that happen against a tough team.
Here's my question. Let's just say hypothetically, the Saints and the Packers have to play against each other. We'll say
NFC Championship
in New Orleans, and it becomes a shootout. Which team are you going with, honestly?
So let me say this about the Saints defense. I mean, in a shootout, I'll put Aaron Rodgers with you and me as the wide receivers because I don't even know. So last week, not yesterday, because some people the week before, I was like, oh, some of these receivers. I remember reading blog posts about them on Acme Packing Company that where they just write a blog post about every single player, and I'd never seen them on the field. I'd forgotten their names, like Lazard and players like that. And Aaron Rodgers is finding them, and he's trusting them because some of these players are dropping balls, and he's going back to them one or two plays later, and they're catching big plays.
Which works in the regular season.
No, it works
in the playoffs. In the playoffs, I just think there's a
two
different
players.
level of play. Agreed?
That's true.
That's true.
Okay. That's true, but there's two players that could make that work. It's Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and I don't even think Drew Brees can make that work. Really, he still needs a little bit of talent around him. I think Drew Brees is better than Tom Brady, but I think those are the two guys. I'm not trying to disrespect Drew Brees. I'm saying that there's two quarterbacks in the NFL that can have legitimate success with Chris Hogan. And Drew Brees is better off with a Michael Thomas or, and a couple other players, a Kamara and stuff like that. But Drew Brees finds them all too. I like Drew Brees better than Tom Brady. You know that very well. I'm saying at this little piece that those two quarterbacks and the scheme make.
Who is this guy, man? You're giving Brady a little credit. I'm impressed, man. This is maturity and growth. Maturity and growth from you.
I've always given him a little credit, a little bit of credit. So Packers have the Chiefs next week. So that's another team they should tear up because that defense isn't that great, and it's not going to be a shootout because Mahomes not there, which is really disappointing. They actually have a pretty easy schedule. They actually have a pretty easy schedule the next 3 games: Chargers and Panthers. Now that means that's a lot of like teams that they should be able to cut up in a similar way to the Raiders, maybe not that intensely, but that should give LaFleur and Rodgers a chance to sort of play together, right? So on Thanksgiving weekend, or on the 11/24, I don't know when the hell Thanksgiving is, when they play the 49ers, I expect something better than 13-6 or 10-6 or whatever that game against the Bears was in the first game of the season. But I'm not sold yet.
What I would say is this, is that maybe you should expect a lower scoring game only because defensively the Bears and the 49ers do have similar talent. I'll say that.
Yeah. I expect a low scoring game, but I expect 21 points.
Ooh,
yeah, I don't expect 13. Okay. I don't expect 13 is what I'm saying. So, and I think when the Packers play the Bears again, they'll probably do a lot better against them. But we'll see. I mean, everything's not going to go right. Everything's not going to go right, essentially. And I don't trust right now. I'm not the headlines that say Rodgers and LaFleur have found their connectedness and everything is great in Packerland. I don't know that that's the case, because the truth is that fresh Tom Brady is a force. And if Kamara's healthy, Michael Thomas, we haven't even heard that guy's name that much this year, and he's probably in a lot of our top 5s for receivers in the league right now. So
Teddy Bridgewater is just playing it safe.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do. I thought he played well yesterday without Kamara, and I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. I mean, it's his first real reps in 3 years also. So I think he's actually a little bit better than this, to be honest. And how well can he know the playbook? He's only been playing with these starters for 5 weeks now. Consummate professional, and he knows his limits, I think. You know what kind of team I think he'd win with if he were the quarterback for the Cowboys?
Oh.
Maybe even get them an extra couple wins. And come at half price.
I could agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But I think he'll be the heir apparent to when Drew Brees leaves.
No, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a starter next year, I think, for sure. I don't think he sticks. Yeah, I don't think he sticks there. There's too many teams that need him, I mean, even if Teddy Bridgewater goes somewhere with a good defense and let's say plays like Jacoby Brissett, who's been surprising me.
Wow. Impressive, Jacoby. Yeah.
Oh, I think Teddy Bridgewater's better.
Brady. But there's a Tom Brady backup finding success in the NFL.
He's controlling. Is a big win, but he's
against the Texans.
But he's controlling. He's a game manager also a little bit. So he's surprising me. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is better than him. I don't think he could be as good as Jacoby. I think he's better than Jacoby if you give him that opportunity. So I mean, the NFC is tough because the truth is all these teams, including Seattle, including the Vikings, including the Bears maybe, and let's throw in the Cowboys too. I mean, the Cowboys seem to have flashes of good play. I think that if any of these teams played each other and beat the other team, I don't think we'd be surprised. There's a lot of parity in the NFC right now, not a whole lot in the AFC.
That's fair.
That's fair. You're getting tired over there? You need some coffee?
I'm definitely getting a little tired, but it's all good.
It's good. Okay. So what do you say we bring Angelo on? We do a live stream with Angelo. You think he could figure out the phone? You think he could figure out how to click the link?
Yeah. I give my boy some credit, man. He's moderately savvy when it comes to technology.
I think that's being nice. Angelo and I, hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know when it'll be released. It'll be released either Wednesday morning or Wednesday night. We'll get a podcast up. So make sure anyone who's watching on the rewind here, make sure you guys go check out the podcast. It's on iTunes and everywhere that you listen to podcasts. over here, we'll be doing a lot more live streams. Maybe be getting on after big fights, boxing and MMA. If we're watching them, do an immediate live stream reaction to that kind of stuff. And hey, a lot more. I'm happy I got Wayne back on the show. He moved away from Vegas, ran away from us, and all I kept doing was say, hey, we got to figure out how to get you on. So I think maybe YouTube will be your spot.
That's what's up.
We'll get you on the recorded one too.
I'm excited. NBA starts tomorrow. By the way, let's pick up our draft. Let's get that going.
The draft's going slow.
But, number one pick is already injured. I'm excited to see the young talent that the Cavs have cultivated. We'll see if these guys pan out.
It's an exciting year for rookies. It's the first year in a long time where there feels like there's more parity. Whether Golden State would win or not, at the beginning of the year, the last few years, it just felt like they were the team. And now it's really up in the air. Clippers are the favorite, but I'm not sure that they're the best team, and
it's super. Look at what the Rockets did. There's superstars all over the place. Superstars all over.
That'll be fun to watch. The East has gotten a little better, to be honest. Yeah. Like if a team comes out of the East and beats one of these West teams, it wouldn't be surprising. 76ers and Milwaukee. So we'll definitely have to do an NBA show. It'll be a preview, but the games will already start. Who's going to come out? We might do a couple weekend shows. You want to do Saturday, right? So we might do whatever the big game is on Saturday.
And Saturday could be fight nights too. That'd be good stuff, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing both. So lots of live streams coming on the Chaotic Sports YouTube channel and podcasts too. The podcasts right now are separate. I'm not putting this on audio and throwing it up there. So lots of stuff to do. My name's Chris Sarda. That is Insane Wayne at Never Do I Lose. Look right down there on Twitter for those underscores. Find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter and me at Chris Sarda on Twitter. You guys have a great day. See you next time.
Peace.